Hi, it's Matt here at NAB 2014 for Newsshooter.com, and we're with the guys from Sony, with Den and Kanta. Now, this is the new a7S. Now, what was the inspiration behind this camera?
Actually, this is the world's first full-frame camera with a full pixel readout without using landscaping pixel binning. So this creates a very good 4K image output from the HDMI. So this is a very unique point of this new camera.
And how long has this camera been in the works for? How long has the design and planning gone into this particular camera?
I don't know well, but actually normally one engineer has been working on 2 years, 3 years to develop a new product. So I think they spent similar,
so when the original A7 and A7R came out, you had already decided to bring this camera to market?
Yes, they are synchronizing developing the Alpha 7 and Alpha 7R and this camera. But the sensor is totally different from the other two. So they are carefully checking the picture quality.
And who is this camera aimed at? What sort of shooter should be looking at this camera?
We're targeting both photographers and videographers. For the photographers, it has a great benefit because of the low light sensitivity. It has ISO 409 and 600 ISO. It's a big number.
409,600.
Yeah, sorry for my bad English. Yeah. And also for the videographers, yes, they can get XAVCS Full HD recording format in addition to the 4K HDMI output.
Yeah. And what is the native resolution of the sensor, and what is the sensor type of this camera?
It has, in terms of the number of pixels, it has a 12.2 megapixel. It means that each photo size is quite big. So that is why it has a great sensitivity, even in the low light. So even for video and photo, so everybody can enjoy the great image from this camera.
And it's a CMOS sensor?
Yes, CMOS sensor. Yeah, CMOS sensor. Yeah. So this is the brand new Sony's Exmor full frame 35mm sensor. Yeah.
And what are the frame rates this will do in HD?
HD, you can take 60p, 50p. And of course, you can choose 25p, 24p, 50i, 60i. So this is global frame rate camera.
And was there a reasoning behind not making this camera record 4K internally and making it go only be able to record 4K externally?
Actually, so because the sensor is quite big, so it requires it requires power, so it may cause some heating. So and also, even now are using HD. And in the future, they would need a 4K. So in that case, they can use some external devices.
And to shoot HD in this, what kind of card do you need? Maybe Den, you've used it.
It's an SDXC card. We've got one here. It's class 10 and above, I think. SDXC1. 95 megabits a second. So internal recording is all onto the SDXC cards. We filmed with it for days and days and didn't notice any kind of problems with battery life. It just kind of worked as you'd expect. For external 4K, it uses micro HDMI 2, and that has to go out to an external recorder, which is, you know, at the moment, the Blackmagic HyperDex Studio Pro is what we used on location, but I believe another major manufacturer is making an announcement tomorrow about an onboard recorder. Portable with probably with a 7-inch screen, something big so you can help focus. You know, the thing that blew me away most about this was just the image quality. You know, forget all the technical specs, you know, it just looks amazing. I've done some side-by-side comparisons with the 5D Mark III, and I'm going to publish them very shortly, and they are pretty mind-blowing. Great resolution, everything you'd expect from a Sony sensor.
I know you're going to publish it, I know you want to get it on your blog first, but you know, in a nutshell, better than the 5D Mark III in low light?
If you've got a 5D Mark III, sell it now, buy one of these, because this just, you know, I wouldn't say it a bit in French, but it trumps the 5D Mark III on almost every level. It's half the weight, half the size, the 4K coming out of it. Now, I've never not been the biggest world's fan of 4K until I used this camera in Japan, shot 4K with it, and was blown away. And I'm a complete convert now, so I want to shoot everything in 4K.
And it's a true world camera, and I take it features all the same type of menu items with, you know, white balance manual control, you know, peaking, all those sort of things like that.
Same physical chassis as the A7 series. All the menus are very, very familiar. I can't say enough. You know, I've been using this for a month, so it's kind of weird to sort of be this just big announcement. And the rush to the stage when it was announced was phenomenal. I really do think this is the camera that's going to make people who are currently working with, say, Canons stand up and go, well, let's look at this as a serious contender.
A price point, and not fully fixed price, but a price point that's very competitive.
I believe so. I believe they're aiming for a very competitive price point. You know, I'm an F5 owner, so I'll have one of these as a B cam, no problem at all. It also does 120 frames a second at 720. Now you have to acquire it at 120 and conform it in post, but it's another feature that's just kind of hidden in there.
So just so for, you know, basically you can't play it back in slow-mo on the back of the camera like some other cameras do, but it's good at 720.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's there if you want to use it. The other thing they've not mentioned, S-Log2. It has S-Log2 as an option. So you can suddenly acquire footage on this camera the same way you do on your FS700, your F5, your F55. It's a truly staggering camera. Low light sensitivity is off the scale, simply off the scale. I mean, it'll do 500,000 ISO. Now, for you guys in news, half a million ISO. For you guys in news, when you need to get an image out of nothing, you can do it. But we've been shooting very respectably. The clip we just showed at the press launch here, we shot inside a temple in Japan at 12,800 ISO, clean as a whistle. And we did some side-by-side comparisons with the 5D Mark III, and even at 6400 ISO, the 5D Mark III was losing resolution. And this was clean all the way up. So
can you talk a little bit about the lower resolution quality then? I mean, in terms of aliasing, moire, all those things that we're used to with DSLR, how does this compare?
Well, it eliminates it because it's a full readout sensor. There's no line skipping, so there's no worry. So, you know, those are the kind of things that, you know, it just doesn't exist anymore.
And rolling shutter? Rolling shutter?
Didn't really test it. I mean, all CMOS sensors have a rolling shutter issue. You know, just don't wave the camera around crazy. And you know, bear in mind it's a full frame sensor. We were shooting with some of the alpha lenses, some of the E-mount lenses that are f4, and we're shooting wide open at f4 and getting beautiful shallow depth of field. And they are both smoky film, which is available on the booth and now on the website. You know, we were shooting really beautiful shallow depth of field with that lovely big full frame. I can't, you know, we went on for a long time about how important it was to have a big full frame, and here it is now at a price point which I'm reckoning is going to compete.
It's 1.1 times crop or exactly full?
I believe it's full frame. Yeah, there's no crop at all, as far as I'm aware. I mean, that from us using it, we didn't notice any.
And there's an APS-C sized crop-in mode as well on this camera.
That's right. So if you've got the APS-C sized lenses in your existing armory, you can use that crop. But don't forget, with it being an E-mount lens mount, you've got access to all the lenses and adapters, the Metabones, the E-mount to Nikon, the E-mount to PL.
So if you've got Zeiss lenses, Canon lenses, you've tried them, you tested them on this? Or?
Yeah, I mean, we've stuck with Zeiss lenses, to Canon lenses, you know, PL lenses, the works.
Kanta, can I just ask you a couple of things about the basic design? Is there anything changed on this body compared to the A7 and the A7R in terms of physical characteristics?
In terms of size, this is almost the same as the currently Alpha 7 and Alpha 7R. The one advantage against the new the existing camera is the main lens mount material. This is using stainless steel.
Really? Yeah. So this mount. So this is stainless steel on here.
We are assuming the heavy lens used on this camera. So our engineer considered to have the durable material for the lens mount.
And let's talk a second about the picture profiles. Picture styles. You say it's got S-Log2. Does it have other picture profiles that you've used, and are they user configurable?
Well, we used in Japan on the film with the Sakura, the cherry blossom. We mostly shot in standard gamma. Straight off, just standard gamma, and amazingly beautiful images. I think the one thing that's really important to note here is I often hear people talking about the Sony look being very video-y. Well, I think that's not the case anymore at all. The images are very soft, they're very subtle, beautiful highlight roll-off, very, very muted colours if you want them. And
in the standard profile we're talking about here.
Yeah. It's not oversaturated like the Canons, which are very, very kind of saturated, very contrasty. It's a beautiful native image. I think the engineers have worked very hard to create a very beautiful image, beautiful skin tones, beautiful, beautiful skin tones. And I think the measure of a camera is always how it resolves skin tones. And both in 1080p and in 4K, lovely, lovely skin tones. And say the 4K film, which is playing on the Sony booth and the Atomos booth, is all standard gamma, apart from a couple of shots which are S-Log2, and actually the video clips are labelled with which shots are standard, which ones are S-Log2.
Kanta, can you perhaps talk us through what was going through your designers' minds when they were working with the colour? I mean, can you tell us about what you've done to make this better in the way that Den has described?
Actually, I'm working on the marketing side, and I directly ask our engineers. To be honest, you can come to Sony stand, and we have many engineers there.
Kanta, do you think there's a lot of technology new technology in this camera that may make its way into other Sony cameras in the future?
For example,
Maybe I could answer this rather than
you
you get into trouble.
Yeah.
My feeling is that Sony is a technology manufacturer, a technology business, so it would figure that if they're able to do something in one camera, I think it's a fairly safe bet that at some point in the future we'll see things from these migrating. And I think, at the minute Sony seem to be, Kanta's new role is to kind of bridge professional and consumer, and I think the gap is closing, and why not take great consumer technology and implement it in professional cameras? I would be very surprised if we don't see features transcending into professional equipment.
Well, and you can take Zeiss full frame cine lenses and they will work on this camera, which is, and actually there aren't that many cameras that you can utilize that full size chip with, right. and so I'm hoping anyway there'll be a full size or a full frame sensor cine camera in not too short order, maybe. That you don't say anything.
I'm just assuming something.
Okay. I think Sony's philosophy has always been anything is possible. I think it comes down to economics and price points and resources, and let's get this into the hands of filmmakers first and see what they can do with it, because it's all about small size, and you guys from a news background know this is slung in your pocket, you've got a lens on it, you can go anywhere in the world, 500,000 ISO, you can shoot in complete darkness and get images back on an SD card, XAVCS, 50 megabits, it's a good quality codec, and it's pretty mind-blowing.
Is there any idea of when it's going to ship?
We haven't decided. So, but our engineer is trying to fine tuning the final picture quality. So we're going to let you know once we decide it.
Okay. And if people want to see your footage, what you've shot that was shown on the screen here, where can they go and see that?
So the 1080p films are on my blog now on FW Academy. You guys can link through to them. The 4K films I've got to upload to YouTube because obviously there was an embargo until about 20 minutes ago. We've got to find a decent connection to decent connection. But I think study the 1080p stuff is amazing, and then on top of it, the icing on the cake is the ability to shoot 4K. And my feeling is that when these smaller recorders become available, I'm guessing this is going to become a very affordable shooting package in 4K with no compromise.
Okay, so that's I think it for us here from the Sony press conference here at the Mirage at NAB 2014.